All right. Hello, my name is Brecken Bigelow. I am a freshman at KVCC. This is my instructional techniques lesson about fire extinguishers, all the types and uses on all these fire extinguishers. So, before we dive in, I'll tell you guys a little bit about me. My name is Brecken Bigelow. As I said, I'm a freshman at KVCC. I'm from Holland, Michigan, born and raised. I went to Holland Public Schools all 12 years. There, I got introduced to the fire world through an internship through my high school with my um, local fire department, Holland PD or Holland FD. Sorry. Um, there, I went on a few fire calls, and a few medical calls with these firefighters. Rode on some fire trucks, so that was pretty cool. Um, and just saw basically what they do on a day-to-day basis. I did this for 7 months, and yeah, it was pretty fun. I would say that really made me know that firefighting is something I really feel passionate about. So, a little course overview. The things we're going to go over in this lesson are types of extinguishers, all the types. So you got your water, you got your foam, your dry chemical, your carbon dioxide, all those types of fire extinguishers. How to use each different extinguisher. So we're going to go over the class fires and what extinguishers work best on each class. Um, some quick facts I'm going to throw in through the presentation here that I think are pretty important to the lesson. Yeah, I'm going to show you how to hold a fire extinguisher. May seem a little weird, but some people hold them wrong and it doesn't turn out well. So, and how to use a fire extinguisher. And something I didn't put in here, I will also demonstrate on a live small bin fire using a fire extinguisher. And then at the end, we'll have a quick quiz. All right, just a brief introduction on fire extinguishers. So, 4,000 people die each year from fire, and 25,000 get injured each year. Now, while that number 4,000 is a big number, but it seems low for fire. It could always be lower. With all the technology we have, it's great. Now we just need to know the best way to use them. And a lot of people don't know how to use fire extinguishers. Everyone thinks it's common knowledge, but it gets more complicated. Now, fire extinguishers are our first defense against fire. There should be a fire extinguisher in each public building because when a fire happens, firefighters take not a long time, but they take time to get there. While the fire extinguishers are already there, we can defend the fire already before the firefighters even get there. I think that's very crucial that we do that and know how to do it. What you should know by the end of this lesson is all the types of extinguishers, how to use them, and the pass method. So that's pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. We'll go over that a little bit later in the lesson here, but these are all the tasks you should know by the end of this lesson. All right, diving in, we're going to go over some types of extinguishers. So we got foam or water, ABC dry powder, carbon dioxide, and wet chemical. All these extinguishers are good for different kinds of fires. If you were to buy one for your house, I would recommend the ABC dry powder. It works for most fires. It is very well-rounded and works pretty well. If you're looking for a very reusable one, I would recommend the water because you can fill those up and you won't have to get them reserviced and charged again. Yeah, I think the ABC powder, though, is the best one in my opinion. All right, so a couple classes. We'll go over the classes of fires. Class A is the most common fire, which is good because most of the extinguishers work for it, and that would be your solid material fires. You got your wood or your paper, your textiles, all that kind of stuff. Say you are in a library and there's a fire going on. That's going to be wood material, all that stuff. Lucky thing is, sorry, I don't know what that took me so long. Lucky thing is your water, your foam, your ABC powder, and your wet chemical fire extinguishers work on these. Your Class B fire is your flammable liquids. So that's gasoline, your propane, petroleum grease, all that. These are your flammable liquids. When I say this, it's happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to you. Never use water on a grease fire. Ever. Sorry. Is a horrible idea. It will end badly. It just, the water does not react with the grease very well, and it causes an explosion. Use instead your foam, your ABC powder, or your carbon dioxide extinguishers. Class C are your electrical/chemical fires. So these are very, very common, and with the rise of technology, they could become even more common, if not the most common fire. And that these come from your electrical outlets. If something's wired bad, a fire could start. Or if you have an outlet that has too many devices connected into it, it could ignite a fire. During this fire, one thing that you really want to look and try to see if possible is to unplug from the outlet. The outlet acts as a power source as long as it's plugged in, igniting the fire. And so if you have time, try and go for the plug and unplug it, and then extinguish the fire. Obviously, extinguish the fire first, and then unplug the outlet from the wall. This will be very useful knowledge. Your Class D fires are going to be your combustible metals. So that's magnesium, your sodium, and potassium. A quick fact about your Class D fire is a bucket of sand goes a long way. You could, if the fire is small enough, just pour a bucket of sand on it and it extinguishes the fire. But I mean, who has a bucket of sand lying around? So you could use the ABC dry powder extinguisher, and that will take care of it as well. All right, moving past the classes, we're going to assess the situation, put you in the situation of a live fire. So pretend let's go to the library situation. You're at the library, you're doing your homework, and there's a fire. You know where the fire extinguisher is, you look at the fire, and you assess the situation. Ask yourself, do you have the proper amount of time to grab the fire extinguisher, get over to the fire, pull the tag, and start extinguishing the fire? If you don't, leave. Let the professionals handle it. Also ask yourself, how dangerous is the situation? Do you see yourself getting hurt? If so, it's not worth it, and leave. Possible exits. If you are going to extinguish the fire, you must know all the possible exits throughout the building so you know the safest way to leave in case the situation gets worse and you can't extinguish the fire. Ask yourself what class the fire is. If you know from the information that we just read and went over, you can see the class of the fire, the type of extinguisher they have. If the extinguisher does not work for the fire, leave and let the professionals handle it. Reading the tag. This is a very important part in the fire extinguisher, and it tells you all the information about the fire extinguisher on the premises. So the first thing you're going to want to look at is the expiration date. On the bottom, it says 2022 is when it was serviced and charged. And each company will want to service their fire extinguishers every 1 to 2 years to keep the chemical and make sure it's charged all right. just to make sure it's all good. You'll also look at the type of fire extinguisher, as we can look over here. It says dry chemical, wet chemical, your CO2, all these. And this one is the ABC dry chemical. So that's how you know from the hole punch. Now, how to hold a fire extinguisher. This seems very simple, but it can be messed up very easily. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your right hand, put that on the lever. As we can see over here, you're going to want to grip this. And then with your left hand, you're going to take the hose and aim it at the fire. Keep a good grip on it. And yeah, you should be good. Now, the pass system. This is the system that all fire extinguishers, this is the stop, drop, and roll of fire extinguishers, if you will. So, pass stands for pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. Remember this when you're in the actual situation, because you're gonna want to remember to pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. Okay. Yes, here's the video explaining the pull system.
Fires kill more than 3,000 people in the United States each year. And if we're going to have to deal with these fires at home, in the office, in the shop, wherever, we have to know how to use a fire extinguisher. When you encounter a fire, you have to make a conscious decision. Is it worth me trying to put it out with a fire extinguisher? Should I just back out of there and call 911 and let the professionals take care of it? Every company is going to have someone in charge of checking these visually on a monthly basis. Every year you'll have them sent away to be checked by the professionals, but the monthly checks are pretty simple. Let's make sure that they're charged. Let's make sure all the parts are in place, that the hose is in good condition, that they're mounted in the right place. It's easy to lose track of one of these things if they get used. Make sure it gets put back, it gets recharged, because you never know when you're going to need to use one. If you happen upon a fire that is small enough for you to actually fight with one of these smaller fire extinguishers, all you have to remember is the acronym PASS. PASS helps us learn how to use this thing safely and not forget it when our mind is being preoccupied by the blaze. P is for pull, and we're going to pull the pin. The pin is here to make sure that this thing doesn't accidentally get discharged. It's really the only thing that's stopping these two levers from coming together and discharging the unit. When we pull the pin, make sure we're not squeezing together. We're just holding on the underside. It should be pretty easy to pull. It should have some sort of a tether on it or maybe a plastic band. Discard both of those things, and that's when we're going to go ahead and grab this nozzle and move on to our next letter. Grab this nozzle, and we're going to aim at the base of the fire, stay a nice safe distance away. And S is for squeeze. When we squeeze this handle, we'll discharge the unit. And the last thing we're going to do is sweep. We're going to sweep at the base of the fire and try to put out the flames from the bottom up.
All right. Where to aim. Now, when you're using when you're in the situation using the fire extinguisher, a common misconception and a confusion as to where to aim at the fire. So first thing you're going to want to know is you're going to want to stay 6 feet away from the blaze. You don't want to get too close to this. You don't know how the fire is going to react. It might flash at you, so stay 6 feet away. Aim low for the base. This is where the fire is starting, so you're going to want to hit that right in the heart of it. Get a sturdy base with your footing. There's no kickback when you're using a fire extinguisher, but it always helps to have a good foundation with your feet. All right, so now that we finished the lesson, never underestimate a fire extinguisher. You know, they can save lives. They have before. They've saved millions in property damage. Never think that a fire extinguisher won't do the job. Obviously, if the fire's big enough, you should let the professionals handle it. But if you feel the fire is a good size for a fire extinguisher, then go for it. Be the hero. If not, step back and let professionals handle it. Now for the quiz, there is a 10-question, 5 true or false questions, and 1 short answer. And at the end, I have a quick video of me extinguishing a fire, which I'll put in right now. All right, so in this situation, we got a live fire. Directions are you grab the fire extinguisher, pull the tag right off. The clip came flying off as well, but you'll take the clip off. You'll face the fire. Grab with your right hand on the trigger. Make sure it's all out.